CGA applies to consumers and business who operate in New Zealand. By having this act, consumers are at ease from many troubles when buying products or using services. It also puts a responsibility on the importers, retailers, tradespeople, professional finance companies, and online traders. Generally speaking, the CGA applies to people in trade. In Section 2 of CGA, a person in trade applies to someone who on a frequent basis intends and offers to sell goods or services. Who is a consumer? In Section 2, a consumer is defined in the CGA as someone who acquires goods or services from a supplier of a kind ordinarily acquired for personal, domestic, or household use or consumption. The word acquire has several semantic meanings. It can refer to purchasing, exchanging, hiring, purchasing, leasing, owing something through a gift. If you have acquired a goods or service through any of these activities, then you are a consumer.
A guarantee in relation to any goods is defined as an undertaking, assertion, or representation in relation to the quality, performance, characteristics, provision of services, supply of parts, or future availability of these goods. This means that there is a promise or obligation from small to medium enterprises that the goods available to consumers must meet these standards or be in breach of the Section 13 of the Consumer Guarantees Act 1993. There are 8 guarantees given to consumers in the Consumer Guarantee Act. There is the guarantee for title, which is the right of possession, delivery, which is supply, the acceptable quality, the appropriate use, fitness for use, the appropriate descriptions for the product, appropriate samples for the product, appropriate prices, and appropriate reparations for said goods.
The CGA provides several guarantees goods and services must comply with. If the consumer is not satisfied with the good or service, they can claim for damages under the Act. The retailer that sold the item has to provide the service of repairing, replacing, or refunding the item. If the fault can be remedied by the supplier, it must be done within a reasonable time, as stated in Section 32 of the Act. If it can't be done within a reasonable time, it can't be fixed or is unfit and unsafe character, the consumer can reject the product. Instead, he or she may ask for a replacement or a refund. The consumer may also claim for any reasonably foreseeable extra loss that resulted from the initial problem. You cannot contract out of the CGA in business-to-consumer transactions. An attempt to contract out of this would be a breach of the Fair Trading Act. This can result in penalties up to $200,000 for individuals and $600,000 for companies. You can, however, contract out of the CGA in transactions between two businesses, provided that both parties agree on the terms in a written contract. Section 43, subsection 2 states, both parties agree to contract out of the agreement. The agreement must be in writing, and so it can't be verbal. The goods and services are supplied and acquired in trade or commercial operations. Both parties are in trade, and the terms have to be fair and reasonable on both sides of the agreement. Unless these 5 conditions are met, a business may not contract out of the CGA.
If you're panicking now, don't. It's really not that complicated. The Act serves to provide consumers with rights and remedies against suppliers, service providers, and manufacturers. Being a business owner means that you must comply with the obligations detailed in the CGA and be prepared to repair, replace, refund, or pay damages for the loss of value of the product or service you are providing. That is, if they fail to meet the standards outlined in the Act. Breaching the conditions of the CGA can result in significant consequences for SMEs. Your customers can, if they see fit, take you to the district court and/or the disputes tribunal if a remedy is unable to be reached. If you're a business that sells products, your products must be of acceptable quality and fit for purpose, matching the description that you provide for that product. If you're a service provider, your services must be done with a reasonable level of skill and care and fulfill the purpose that you and your customer agreed upon. If you're a manufacturer, your products must match the given description, be durable and fit for purpose, and have no hidden defects.